This is Freedom Global News.
House of Representatives summoned Chris Ngige and others over Academic Staff Union of Universities.
Global News.
Kano end-of-month sanitation arrangements concluded. Nigeria demands 2 permanent seats for Africa in United Nations Security Council. And on the foreign scene, African leaders call for end to Zimbabwe sanctions.
This is Freedom Global News.
Good evening, you're listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Zahra Zanna. Today is the 23rd of September, 2022. And now the news in full.
Freedom Global.
The federal government has demanded for 2 permanent seats to be allocated to Africa in the United Nations Security Council. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, disclosed this in an interview today in New York. Mr. Onyema, who spoke on the sidelines of the ongoing 77th session of United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, said that such move would make the UN a fair and more equitable organization. President Joe Biden had on September 21st, while addressing the UN during the high-level debate, called for the reformation of the United Nations Security Council. Mr. Onyema commended the US president for speaking out on the issue and described it as one of the major highlights and takeaways of the 77th United Nations General Assembly. He said that Biden's call for the reformation of the council was in line with what African countries have been demanding over the years. The minister said that it was sad that Africa was the only region in the world without a permanent seat in the council with a veto. According to the minister, African leaders have been making such requests, which will make the UN a fair and more equitable organization in terms of representation. Speaker Femi Bajabiamila has invited the Minister of Labour and Productivity, Chris Ngige, to appear before the lawmakers over the ongoing face-off with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, next Thursday. This was as the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, reiterated that the Integrated Payroll Personnel Information System, IPPIS, the University Transparency Accountability Solution, UTAS, and the University Peculiar Personnel and Payroll System failed its integrity test regarding the university payroll, which the agency conducted between March and June. Also invited were the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, the Accountant General of the Federation, the Director General, Salaries, Income and Wages Commission, and the Director General Budget Office, among others. The Speaker invited them on Thursday evening at the resumed meeting aimed at resolving the ongoing strike embarked upon by ASU. People with hearing loss have complained about the problem of not being able to run their business like any other citizen and not being able to participate in their own right. The people with hearing loss said their main concern now is how they suffer when they go to the hospital to check their health, and that many of the doctors cannot communicate to diagnose. The United Nations has designated the 22nd of September every year as Sign Language Day to raise awareness among the public about the importance of the day. Correspondent Hafsat Abdullahi Anladi takes a look on the importance of the day and files in this report.
Sign language commemoration was started around the world in 2018 to encourage deaf people to live their daily lives among people like everyone else. This day is focused on informing the public and the parents who do not allow their deaf children to go to school to get a full education just because they don't feel like other people. An international organization of people with deafness says that there are about 120 million people who are deaf in the world, and 80% of them lives in a developing countries where they speak 300 different world languages. In a research conducted by the group, they said that they found more people with special needs, that the corona epidemic has damaged their lives and their education at that time due to the lack of care that is given to them. Freedom Radio interviewed some people with hearing loss here in Kano to hear how they live their lives with the deafness.
In Nigeria, people have their own contribution. The state, some for people to come and protect themselves. Government have right to say, and people have their own contribution to the security in Nigeria.
I want to use this opportunity on this blessed day of ours to call the attention of Kano State government on the issues facing the deaf communities. We solicit for employment opportunities and empowerment for vocational trades to deaf women in the state, scholarship assistance and inclusion to reduce our inferiority conflict and give us a sense of belongingness in the society.
Dr. Bashir Sani, a lecturer at Department of Special Need Education at Saadat Remi College in Kano, shed more light about the importance of special education.
Sign language is a language of communication popularly used by the deaf, and it is now commonly used worldwide. Means of communication through the use of finger spelling, gesture, body language, and simultaneous communication, which can be represented in a fast way through the use of finger.
The theme for this year International Day of Sign Language is Sign Language Unite Us. Hafsat Abdullahi Dalladi, Freedom Radio.
On sports, Super Falcons head coach Randy Waldrum has named Asisat Oshola for the upcoming friendly against former world champions Japan. Hawa Adamu has details of this and other sports updates.
The match, built for October 6th at the Nover Stadium in Kobe, could see Asisat Oshola return to the Super Falcons since her injury during the group stage of the 2022 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Meanwhile, among the 20 players invited for the forthcoming friendly against Japan includes 4 home-based players, but there were no spots for Esther Onyenezide and Jumoke Alani. Goalkeepers are Chiamaka Nadozie, Yowante Balogun, and Nkiruka Obidima. Defenders list has Rofiat Imran, Glory Ogbonna, Osinachi Ohale, Ashley Plumptre, Michelle Alozie, Oluwatosin, and Blessing Demehi. Midfielders consist of Peace Efe, Ngozi Okobi Okegene, Tony Oyedupe Payne, Regina Otu, Rashidat Ajibade, and Deborah Abiodun, while forward players include Vivian Ikechukwu, Gift Monday, Ifeoma Onumonu, and Uchenna Kanu. In another update, Super Eagles striker Alex Iwobi and his teammate at Everton, Jordan Pickford, have been rewarded for their impressive Everton displays by being nominated for Premier League awards for September. The Nigerian international is in the running for EA Player of the Month as he continues to thrive for the Blues under manager Frank Lampard, catching the eye in the deeper central midfield role. Similarly, Bukayo Saka has been named the 2021-2022 England Men's Player of the Year, beating off competition from Tottenham Hotspur's Harry Kane and West Ham midfielder Declan Rice. Saka was announced as the winner of the award on the Twitter handle of the England national teams today. Bukayo now has 18 senior caps for the Three Lions and played 9 times over the course of the international season with 3 goals to his name. In another development, Manchester United forward Cristiano Ronaldo has been charged by the Football Association over footage which appeared to show him knocking a phone out of a fan's hand. A video was shared on social media alongside comments claiming he smashed the device as he left the pitch after a 1-0 loss at Everton in April. And on tennis, Great Britain's Emma Raducanu is through the semi-finals of the Korea Open after beating third seed Magda Linette 6-2, 6-2 in Seoul. It is the first time the 19-year-old has won 3 matches in a row since her run to the US Open title in 2021. She will face top seed Jelena Ostapenko, who beat teenager Victoria Jimenez Kasinteva 6-2 to 6-1 in order to reach the final. Hawa Adamikiawa, Freedom Radio.
Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com. Welcome back. You're still listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. Arrangements have been concluded for the smooth takeoff of this month's general sanitation exercise on Saturday, the 24th September 2022 from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. within Kano State. A statement issued by the Director of Public Enlightenment of the Ministry of Environment, Ismail Garba Gommaja, urged Kano residents to be law-abiding citizens to ensure total compliance of this directive, to stay indoors and ensure to clean up their immediate surrounding during the stipulated time given. The Commissioner also pointed out that the sanitation exercise for government MDAs, companies, marketplaces, and motor park is scheduled to commence on Friday, 30th September 2022, and appeal to the general public to note this development. Primary Health Workers Management Board will commence a yellow fever campaign vaccination against the disease in 44 local governments in Kano State. The Public Relations Officer of the Health Commission at the first level of Kano State, Adu Jibril Sanda, disclosed it today during their visit to Freedom Radio.
This is Freedom Radio because we are our partners in progress, partners on enlightening people. The yellow fever vaccination campaign, we are targeting people at the age of 9 months to 44 years, while we are continuing our routine immunization, that is RI routine immunization. Then the COVID-19 certificate 3.0 will be continued again. Then it's an opportunity for children of 0 to 1 year to receive their birth registration during this exercise.
Also in his speech, station manager Freedom Radio, Malam Ado Saidu Warawa, said that they have been working with the agency for a long time and advised them on how to achieve success.
We are going to do everything possible to create awareness, and we are going to advise you as you are stage. Creating awareness, radio, it is mostly effective when it is now accompanied with campaign on social media. Because the people you are looking for are mostly on new media. So I want you to find a way of extending this message to media.
Correspondent Amina Mukhtar Yakase reports that the campaign will begin on the 6th day of October in 3 states across the country, starting with children under 9 months of age and people who have reached the age of 44. And on the foreign scene, the African Union reiterated its push for the United States, European Union, and United Kingdom to lift all sanctions against Zimbabwe at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Muhammad Sani Uba reports.
African Union Chairman and Senegal's President Macky Sall said the harsh measures continue to fuel a sense of injustice against an entire people and aggravate their suffering in these times of deep crisis. The sanctions, which were first imposed in 2002, were caused by a land reform program initiated by the government decision to repossess land from minority white farmers for redistribution to landless Zimbabweans. A 2021 report disclosed that since the sanction came into effect, Zimbabwe has lost access to more than $100 billion in bilateral donor support, grant, and loans from the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the African Development Bank. World Bank data showed that at the head of sanctions, Zimbabwe's GDP contracted from $6.78 billion in 2021 to $4.42 billion in 2008. Sall's remarks at the UN General Assembly came 4 days after South African President Cyril Ramaphosa told US President Joe Biden during a visit to White House that sanctions against Zimbabwe were weakening the country's economy. Meanwhile, the United States Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has demanded that Russian President Vladimir Putin be held accountable for his actions against Ukraine. He said this today as he tackled Russia in a Security Council session in which the United Nations catalogued Russia's abuses in Ukraine. The US Secretary of State accused Putin of adding fuel to the fire, with recent steps including calling reservees and planning referendums in Russian-held Ukrainian territory. Muhammad Sani Uba, Freedom Radio.
And with that, we've come to the end of today's Global News. On behalf of the entire production team and I, Zahra Zanna, have a great weekend.
This is